Hey party people, this is Zach from visionswell.com, products and principles for a simple, serene life. And today, I've got a mechanical keyboard review for you. This is the AULA F108 Pro full-sized Vision knob keyboard. I know that's a mouthful, but I've decided that this is going to be my new go-to keyboard going forward. I really like it, and we can go over all of its features and what I like about it. For transparency's sake, AULA reached out to me and wanted to offer this keyboard for me to try out. No money was exchanged and all the opinions are my own. But let's go over this keyboard. This keyboard typically retails for $109.99 US, but it's currently on sale for $88.90. It's a full-sized 100% keyboard, and I know people that are into typing and gaming may have different feelings about having a numpad on their keyboard. They may not need it, they may not want it. They like a smaller form factor on their desk. I'm the opposite. I worked in retail growing up, and I have a lot of love and need for a numpad because it makes it really easy to enter numbers when I'm filling out forms online or purchasing something. So I really love having this keyboard, especially working in Excel for so much of my career. I also use it to map keys in video games. I play World of Warcraft, and sometimes I like to have my abilities specifically on the numpad numbers, and allows me to do a lot more with my fingers. So I like having that. This keyboard comes in a bunch of different colors, but I got it in the white and red with the black accent keys. I think it looks really nice. It's made with pre-lubed linear switches, and these are actually called wind spirit switches from AULA. And I actually really like the actuation on these wind spirit switches. So if you hear, it has a nice solid clickiness to it, but it's not that clicky clack like a buckling spring or something. It actually just has a really nice smooth sounding switch. The switches are pre-lubed and they're linear, and they feel really nice to type on. And I tried to find some info about the switch itself. I'm not the biggest keyboard nerd, but I wanted to understand some of these specs in case they matter to you. It says they have a POM stem and a PC top. They didn't specify the bottom, but it's likely nylon. It has a 45-gram actuation force and a 50-gram bottom out force. The actuation is 2.0 millimeters and the bottom out is 3.5 millimeters. So it's a good feeling travel and switch for me. It feels like I can press it but not accidentally press it pretty easily. I can get intentional key presses on this. Feels really good for gaming. I've used it for it. It has 3 different modes that it can connect to your computer. I always prefer to have it hardwired because I hate input lag, and any kind of Bluetooth or other wireless technology always has like a slight input lag. So I like it to be plugged in with USB-C. That's a great option. You also have a little 2.5G dongle that actually fits right into the back of this. So if you pull that out and plug this little AULA dongle into your computer, you can use the 2.4G wireless connection. And then there's also Bluetooth. It specifies that it has south-facing RGB lighting instead of north-facing. So it looks like the lights come out towards you. You can see it kind of blinking in that red color. That's the color I've chosen because it matches the RGB on the internals of my PC case. The keys are hot swappable, and the switches are as well. So you can easily replace these keycaps if you have better ones. If you guys can recommend any keycaps that have like clear cutouts so I can see the RGB a little bit better, I'd really like that because I like these keys, but I'd love something a little bit more personal and to see the light spill through a little bit more easily. I do really like the switches though. You have this little LCD smart screen up here. You have this AULA logo that has the little rainbow pulse going through it. And then on either end of the keyboard, you also have this little rainbow strip here on either end. That is also a nice little touch. It has 104 keys. You also have custom software that I'll go over when I show the screen and we can see all the different ways that you can customize it. And it has an 8,000 milliamp hour battery, which is insanely huge for a wireless keyboard. So that would last a really long time if you were using this wirelessly. I feel like that would last months. For me, I always have it plugged in, but if I needed to use this on the road or take it on the go or move it around my desk or I got tired of wires on my desk, it's nice to know I have 2 different wireless options and a large battery to back that up. And as far as the Bluetooth, it supports up to a Bluetooth 5.0. I mentioned this nice metal with the red accent volume control knob, but it's also a multi-function knob. And you also have the little LCD screen here that's really cool, and it's like a smart LCD screen. So if you rotate through, This first screen here is a customizable portion where you can upload any kind of GIF file. I picked one of Homer Simpson from one of the Treehouse of Horror episodes where he's doing the Shining homage. And that's when he's screaming. All work and no play makes Homer something something. Go crazy. Don't mind if I do. That's the scene. Then if you scroll one over, you have the little display screen, which displays the time, the date, the battery level. It tells you whether you're in the Windows, Mac, iOS, or Android mode. So it's nice that you can support all four. You can use a Windows computer, an Apple computer, an Android phone, or an iOS phone. It also tells you whether it's wired, wireless, or Bluetooth. It shows you numlock and caps lock, as well as Windows lock activators. What's really cool is that when I first turned this on, the date and time were really weird. The date was in like 2020 or something, and the time was totally wrong. But ever since plugging it into my computer, it actually synced to the date and time of my Windows PC. So that's a really nice feature that I didn't even realize before. If you long press the FN key or function key on the keyboard and then rotate the knob, it allows you to focus exclusively on changing the volume. So it's kind of like a quick shortcut to changing the volume up and down, which I think is really nice. Then if you let go, it goes back to its functions. So then if you go to the last screen here, you have all your settings. So you've got the connect button that allows you to choose which type of connection you want. I have it on wired, so I'll select that. You can go to system and select whether it's a Windows, iOS, Mac, or Android. I have Windows. Then you can choose the different effects here. So let's zoom out a little bit so you can see the way the effects are working. And you can change all these different effects. And it defaults back to the rainbow, but you're able to change the colors as you wish. So you can see it has a ton of different modes. I think it goes up to 19 different modes. So you have ones that are actuated by the keys, ones that run constantly, blinking, raindrop effects, solid colors, all kinds of different stuff. I like this effect 8, which kind of like sputters through. Then the color, you have a bunch of choices. There's RGB, which is that rainbow, red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, purple, and white. And I've really liked having it in red, so I'm going to keep it on that. And then you can control the brightness of it here. I have it up to max brightness, but you can turn it down if you wish. And then there's also a speed function. So if you want it to move a little bit faster, you can knob it up or down, and it'll control the speed of the RGBs. I like it at about 80%. And then you can go through the volume settings here if you want to do it manually through the menu instead of using the function key. And then there's language options if you want it in Chinese, if you want it in English. Obviously, I have it in English. And then you twist it again and go back to this little GIF here. So I think that's a really cool little functional LCD screen. I absolutely love it. I love that you have all the controls for the keyboard right through there. Or you can use the software on your computer, which I'll show. But before we do that, let's do some typing footage so you can hear exactly how this sounds and see if you like the way these switches sound and function. I really love them so far. As you can hear, it has a really nice actuation. It functions extremely well, and I absolutely love the way that these switches feel, and this is going to be my keyboard going forward. And what I've got for you now is the AULA F108 Pro software, and you can go to the Home tab here, select your keyboard. Obviously, I have the F108 Pro. Click that. I have 3 different preloaded configs that I can switch to. I'm able to change the functions of the keys or use it as a virtual keyboard. The next setting here allows me to make macro files. So if I want to macro any of the keys, I can do a recording of actions like press 3 buttons and then use the macros in order to do those key presses automatically. I can have input button activated in different ways. And I think that's a really nice feature. I haven't really messed with this yet, but I feel like that would be really cool to use for something like World of Warcraft if I wanted to hit like a couple buttons at once every time because I play a warlock and I wanted to cast 3 different damage over time spells or something. Maybe I could macro like pressing the keyboard buttons for like 4, 5, 6 or whatever and allow that to cast those 3 dots or curses automatically. I don't know if that's against the terms of service for WoW, so don't quote me on that, but it's something I could definitely explore. Then there's this little light bulb button, and this gives you an example of all the different lighting modes and allows you to choose it and see it in real time on this virtual keyboard. Completely customize what color you want it to be. Customize the brightness, customize the speed. And there's all these different modes here. Static, single on, single off, glittering, falling, colorful, scrolling, rotating, exploding. You can turn the LEDs off. There's so many different options, and I love how you can customize it through this easy-to-use software. If you hit the screen button here, you can either create GIFs yourself. It allows you to like create a GIF with images and export it to the keyboard, or just use one preloaded. I downloaded this Homer Simpson one, and that's the one I've been using. But I think it's really awesome that I have the ability to edit these GIFs and upload different ones and really customize this keyboard to have kind of like a screensaver that I would prefer. Then there's this little user lighting button, and this allows you to customize individually the lights on the keyboard for different sections of it. You could change just the numpad to a different color or the WSD to a different color. It's really cool that they give you that level of customization. The real-time lighting, you can change like the ones that are activated by when you press the keys, whether it's like a rainbow wave, a fountain, breathing, anything like that. It gives you even more options. And then you can actually add music effects. You can make the RGB sync to your music, which I think is really cool. Change what rhythm it is, change what the background mode is. It can flash different colors. You can change it to like a rainbow, a gradient, any kind of spectrum, what amplitude you want it to activate at. So I think that's really cool. And if you're like a DJ or something, that would be awesome to be able to have music controlled RGB, or if you're someone that just wants like a really cool office where you have like light up keys that go with the music and it matches the other RGBs in your office that are activated by music. That's awesome. Then you just have this settings menu and you're able to do some individual settings like disabling the Windows keys, disabling Alt F4, changing the language, changing the key response time, things like that. Gives you a ton of different options. So I think overall the software is actually really nice. So overall, what do I think of this keyboard? I absolutely love it. I think it's worth the money. I think that's a really low cost for a mechanical keyboard that has nice switches and a nice build quality. It feels heavy and solid. I really like the way it feels. I love the multifunction LCD. I love that it's customizable to how I want to use my keyboard. I love the little GIF I have of there of Homer. I like that it has a numpad. I prefer full-size keyboards. I like the little control multi-use knob. I like all the different shortcuts. The software is super nice. The RGBs look vibrant, bright, and nice. I just might switch out some of these keycaps for something that has some transparency in it so I can see the RGB a little bit better. So if you have any suggestions for keycaps that you think I would like them to be very minimal, but I just like them to be see-through. Please leave a comment below and I'll be sure to check them out. As far as my Keep, Gift, Donate, Sell framework, this is going firmly into the keep pile. I swapped out my old Keychron. I'm probably going to either sell it or donate it. And this is going to be my keyboard moving forward that I use for typing, schoolwork, and gaming, as well as personal use. Love this keyboard. Suggest you pick it up if you need like an entry-level mechanical keyboard and you're not super picky about switches or you need certain things. This is good for someone that's not a mechanical keyboard over-the-top enthusiast, but someone who likes them, likes the feel of actuation and clicky feedback and keys, likes this kind of dull click of this keyboard, and it just feels really, really nice overall. So I really love this keyboard. If you have any other mechanical keyboards that you'd suggest I try, and you think based on the criteria I've listed in this video, as well as my use cases, that I would like it better, please leave a comment below and I'll be sure to check it out and maybe do a review. Please like, comment, and subscribe because it helps the channel out a lot. If you want to pick up any of the gear that I've decided not to keep, check out the eBay link in my description below and make me an offer on any of the listings and I'll be sure to accept. If you want to check out any of my merch, please use the merch link below. Thank you as always for watching. I couldn't do this channel without you, and I appreciate all of you and the discussions you've started, as well as your personal anecdotes and questions. It's been a really great conversation so far, so I really appreciate it. And with all that being said, I will definitely see you in the next video. Take care.